Hi, and welcome to another edition of Ethnicity. We have a special treat for you today. Our guests are Anna Bailey and Carrie Pollard. They were both showgirls at the Moulin Rouge.
We'll also be joined by an entertainer who appeared in Dreamgirls, as well as performed with such luminaries as Sammy Davis Jr., the Hines brothers, and Eddie Murphy. You'll meet the talented Wendy Edmeade.
Stay tuned for Ethnicity.
I'm Jessica Mendoza, U.S. Olympic gold and silver medalist. I never take my eyesight for granted, and neither should you. Doesn't matter how old you are, you could be losing your vision to glaucoma without knowing it. Take care of your sight. Schedule regular eye exams for yourself and those you love. Call 1-800-437-2423 or go to ahaf.org for free information and publications from National Glaucoma Research.
Our first guest was recruited by Clarence Robinson, a.k.a. the Senora, who was a choreographer for Duke Ellington at Harlem's legendary Cotton Club in 1955, and Bailey was a 19-year-old chorus girl with the Duke Ellington show, and Carrie Pollard was a 19-year-old dancer and socialite.
They both came from the big city of New York to the desert neon of a place called the Moulin Rouge. Welcome, Anna and Carrie, to the show.
We're happy to be here. Thank you so much.
We're happy
excited.
to have you guys.
Thrilled.
So why don't you guys tell us how you came to Vegas and what it was like?
Well, we rehearsed in New York, and we were so excited because Pearl Bailey always mentioned to us, that's where it's happening, that's where you need to go. You need to go to Las Vegas. So when we found out that we were actually coming to Vegas, we were just ecstatic. And we rehearsed, and we were just looking forward to the desert and being on the Strip and just everything. And then we landed, and they had lights and everything there for us, and they welcomed us. We had limousines that took us out to the Strip. And then as we kept on riding, we started looking at each other because we didn't realize that we were going under the Iron Curtain over to the Moulin Rouge, because we thought we were going to be on the Strip. But once we saw the Moulin Rouge, we were just thrilled. It was just beautiful. The dressing rooms and the club and the casino, and we were just thrilled to be here. We're in Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
So when you entered
Yes.
the Moulin Rouge, you know, they had the gendarmes and just beautiful uniforms. And because we were just arriving with all the cameramen, they had set it up so that the gendarmes were there outside waiting for us, because we came in the dark. I'm telling you, when Vegas was nothing here.
Oh, no.
And we walked in and saw this amazing club in the middle of the desert, this beautiful lights, and we came back later in a reunion. We'll talk about that in '93, but it seemed enormous. When we came back, it seemed so small.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I know both of you know that we had some of the most famous artists or jazz players, and Little Richard, and some great artists that came to the Moulin Rouge. Tell me how that was for you.
Well, they all came to really sort of jam, because their show was over at 12 o'clock. And remember, we were the only ones in town doing a 2:30 show.
Yeah.
So they all, since it was sort of segregated, they were so happy to come over to our side of town and really perform. So you might be Sinatra, Sammy Davis, Belafonte, just everybody would just jam until daybreak.
And I love Nat King Cole.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
and my
oh, my
mother
God.
asked me, you know, can you bring Nat King Cole home with you one day? And I said no, but I tell you who almost followed me home was Oscar Peterson, great jazz pianist.
Yes.
And I should have followed him home, really. But anyway, it was fun.
And Lionel Hampton was another great one that graced the stage, right?
Yes.
That's right. He worked in this showroom, and Les Brown came in and worked. So we had all big bands and big name acts. We had Ann Weldon, we had Hines and Hines, Stomp and Stompy. It was just great entertainment. So it really did just jump every night. So I don't know what happened, that we just closed in 6 months. We'll never be able to understand that in a million years.
But in those 6 months, Las Vegas, West Las Vegas was lit up.
Yeah.
And we know West Las Vegas was always full of jazz and music.
Right.
But Moulin Rouge left a mark of legacy for us.
Oh, yeah.
And you ladies have done the same. You contributed to that, because without you, your dancing and your
Yes.
spunk and
Let me
social
explain
life.
something to you. The girls were the stars.
Thank you.
They were the stars. When we first came
Can't
out
you tell?
here, we had 25 girls, you know, and then they began to chop down the line because they thought that we should bring in some stars. But in the beginning, it was the girls, Ann Weldon, Stump and Stumpy. It was Hines kids that had just started. So it was Hines, and Dad.
Wow.
It was Chink, who was their father, was dancing and singing and doing all things with them. So it was the beginning, a beginning for the Platters. Does
Yes.
anybody know that?
And the
Yeah.
Mills
You know,
Brothers.
That wasn't for Mills Brothers
you're
have been
right.
around a while still.
Yeah.
Most of the girls that joined you.
Yeah, we had some all the way down
Get
to
in for the
17.
Platters, okay.
We had 2 girls that was 17. I think it was
We had
Lorraine.
116.
Really?
And I think Norma De La Serna, she was maybe around 17 or 18.
Right. We had the boys.
We had all the way
sisters,
down
yeah.
to about 26 years of age, you know.
That must have been a culture shock coming from the east to the west.
was a real culture
all
shock.
great, or was
I know it.
bad at some time?
Yes, it was really pretty hostile when we came out here.
Right,
We would go down on Fremont Street because they could kind of tell by the way we dressed that we're from the East. But I remember going to that hot dog place right there on the corner. Was that on 5th and Fremont? And we could buy the hot dog inside, but we'd have to eat it outside.
Right.
And just a lot of embarrassing things for us, you know.
Yeah.
And we couldn't go shopping either. That's another thing. There were no grocery stores around where we were. So we had to shop on the strip, but we had to get out of the store right away. When I'm saying, I'm talking about shopping for food, not clothing, because we couldn't try the clothes on if we went in the stores. So, very interesting thing that happened. We were in the store one time and we came out and the whole sky had lit up. It was Yucca Flats.
Right now, we want to show you the socialites, the dancers, the fabulous Anna Bailey and Carrie Pollard. So right there, you're going to see a picture with the famous Lionel Hampton, legendary Lionel Hampton. Tell us a little bit about that picture and your dancing and your costume.
Yeah.
You know, we think about Folies Bergère, but really the Moulin Rouge set the place, set the tone here
Our
in the West Las
costumes,
Vegas.
Yes,
Right.
they ran about $350 per costume, and they would go up sometimes to $500 per costume. So they were really well made and just beautiful costumes, and the lighting and everything. All of us look like Lena Horne out there, you know, because we really. That's our era.
Yes.
Okay.
We can give you a rundown of. We opened up
Okay.
with a very fast number, you know, and of course Bob Bailey. That's
The
her
famous
husband.
Bob Bailey.
Yes. He was the handsome guy in the white uniform because we took you on a trip. It was a cruise.
Yes.
And then the middle number when he came out and he would sing about Haiti, the magical. And then, boom!
She's fabulous. I
Here
love her.
comes
I love you.
Here comes Lionel Beckles, almost nude in all gold, and he danced on his
Oh
toes.
my God. I think we have a
okay?
picture like that,
Yeah,
you know?
we have a picture of him. And then the Watusi, and Life magazine took the picture of Watusi and put it on the cover of All Black Show in 1955. I have that magazine. I know it must be worth a lot. My daughter keeps telling me, put it in cellophane, put it in something that's going to fall apart. Because you
Preserve it.
open it up and you see cars are worth $7,000 or something. It's really
And it needs to be
ridiculous.
passed on to the next
Yeah,
generation of dancers
really.
and singers.
Yeah.
When they
Beautiful.
face challenges, they know.
Right.
Matter of fact, I want to ask you that question. Is that okay? I want to ask the question. And at the time that you came to Vegas, you came from New York City.
Yes.
And I know that New York is known for talent and dancers and Broadway, but you come to the desert place of Las Vegas and you find yourself, it had to be culture shock, first of all.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy to be working too, and to be working here in Las Vegas. So we were just thrilled about it. So all of the girls, they were all complexions from ebony to ivory, and they're all very talented dancers because he brought them from the South, from California, from New York,
Yes.
from just everywhere. They came from almost all the cities, you know. And so they were really handpicked, the girls, to come out here that would really specialize in precise dancing.
Was there any cattiness with all those girls being that
cattiness.
young?
No, not
That's
really.
a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Keep it real.
Not really,
No,
but
really
there was
wasn't
a
any,
thing, the New York girls and the California girls. You
Yeah.
know,
It's still like that today.
right.
Yeah.
There's always
Side,
that
east
one,
side.
truth be
But the
told,
main thing
you know,
that you might be a little jealousy
Sure.
might be over talent. Like
Right.
some
Who
could
girls could
dance
dance
the
better than
best, right.
others, and
Everything was
sometimes
fast tempo.
Yeah.
yeah, the tempo's
And if you
way
couldn't
there.
cut it, would they
And-
get rid of you? I'm
They
sorry,
did.
you.
Yeah,
The first
they-
week
they let
we
you
lost
Got to
a
keep
lot.
the rhythm.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like this
right.
one here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we lost,
yeah.
we lost a lot as we went on.
Yeah.
But getting back to the culture shock, they had to build places for us to live because we had no place to live out here. There was no place. So when we got here, we had certain houses and a little
right.
motel,
That's right.
like
Yeah,
we stayed there. And we had friends, though, like Dottie and Buck West.
Yes,
Dr. West
yes.
was out here, and Dr. Macmillan was out here.
And they would rent their homes to
Right.
other entertainers.
Yes, and we have 1 minute.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question. How has Vegas, New York, Las Vegas shaped you for today, and what legacy would you like to be remembered here and abroad?
Well, that we're all ladies, you know, and that I'm so proud of all the dancers because they all went, some of them went back to school, some of them became attorneys, some of them married well, and they all did something with their lives afterwards. They all sort of went back, like I went into business, and so we all did something with our lives because one thing about show business, you know, I was lucky. I stayed in it till I was about 35 or 40 years old, but most of the time you're out of it by your middle 20s.
Okay.
And I did both of those things. I went back to school. I remember my mother telling me because she never got really a great education. She came from Thomasville, Georgia,
Okay.
you know. And I went back to school and I got a master's degree. I was unit chief for Manhattan Psych Center and I worked for New York State for 25 years. And I married Ray Pollard, honey.
Ray Pollard.
Wow.
Yes,
I
I
have a picture
did.
here. We gotta go to a break. We'll be back in a minute with our guest.
Yeah, that's right.
Wendy Edmead. We'll be right back.
This sector's clear, Captain.
It seems that way. But they're here.
We have an intruder.
I thought you guys were cleaning out here.
Oh, we are. We're sweeping.
Yeah, for space aliens.
Yeah, for space aliens.
Well, good luck with that.
Imagine what a little time can do for your family.
Our next guest has appeared on the cover of Essence magazine and performed with Sammy Davis Jr., the Hines brother, among others. Welcome to our show, Wendy Edmead.
That's right.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
We're so excited to have you here.
You've done a lot professionally, so why don't you start telling us where it all started?
It all started actually in New York City. I'm from New York. And
the
my
accent.
first, thank you. My first Broadway show was The Wiz, along with Stephanie Mills and gosh, Dee Dee Bridgewater. We had such a wonderful cast. Felicia Rashad, which you all know as Cosby's
How old
wife.
were you when you did that?
Oh gosh, I was still a teenager.
Did mommy get you into that? Because Carrie's your mom.
Yeah, but no, I did it on my own.
Oh, okay.
Well,
And
we
I
know
was-
that talent in the
Yeah.
family.
I was
Right.
the eye of the tornado when I started, which was the tornado's a big dance that blew Dorothy into Oz, you know,
Yeah.
from Kansas.
And you also was one of the contestants that starred on Star Search.
That's right,
I mean,
yeah.
you do jingles. I mean, and what else? Oh, God. Cotton Club.
That's the
I
Cotton
love
Club.
Cotton Club.
Yes,
That
the
is a
movie,
legendary
yes.
movie that I love.
Yes.
With the Hines
Francis
brothers.
Ford Coppola, right, was director, and the Hines brothers, Gregory and Maurice Hines,
Yes.
and a lot of good people. I've been so blessed.
Yes, you have. And you've performed with so many people, beside on camera, but with your voice. We know your voice. You're a singer. You're just multi-talented, and so is her mother. Carrie Pollard is an amazing lady.
Yes.
Tell us some of the songs that you love singing, that's your passion.
Well, I do my own nightclub act here in Vegas, and I travel with it. And a lot of the songs that I sing are standards and songs that I heard as a kid growing up. And I call it real music. I love it.
Right.
And so I love to do music by Dinah Washington, for instance, or even Nat or Natalie Cole, since she, you know, re-recorded her father's songs that, you know, became mega hits. And you know, it's not like that I stay away from the top 40 because I love that too, but I absolutely connect with the standards.
It's in the,
Where do you perform?
Well, locally here, I'll perform at Bootleggers, for instance, and I also have 2 female groups that I perform with, Supreme Reflections, which I play Diana Ross, and we do the story of Diana Ross and Supremes, as well as Radiance, and it's a 4-girl group, and we perform mostly with symphony orchestras across the United States and out of the country.
Let me ask you a quick question. Now, we know you sing now. You're multifaceted. Have you written any of your songs?
I've written songs, but I've never recorded them.
What is one of the songs you sing you love?
That I love, just that I didn't write, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's connected.
Sure. Well, like I said, I love Dinah Washington. I love Lena Horne and all those ladies that I stand on their shoulders, including Mom Carey and
Drew's
and
just trying to get you to sing something.
What a difference a day made.
There you go.
24 little hours.
Wow. Oh my
A
God.
little taste.
How long have you been living in Vegas for?
I've lived here. I did the show Chicago, Broadway show Chicago, and that was around like '96, I believe it was. And I was also with the Pointer Sisters, and I was
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
toured with them for a long time. So.
Well, where else have you lived?
New York and California. Those were like the real living places.
What was California like?
California was great at the time that I was there. It was very open to people of color and casting and roles and all. I did several sitcoms while I was there, including 227, you know,
that's
Marla
right.
Gibbs.
That's
and
right, Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie. Mary.
And you travel abroad. You're not limited to
Yeah.
just Los Angeles, New York, and Las Vegas.
Those are 3
but
of the
you're
biggest cities, though.
international.
Yeah.
I go where the
Woman.
work is. You
Yeah,
know,
right?
when the work calls and says, okay,
right.
we're calling you, we want you to go out of the country, fine.
That's right.
You know, so that's kind of like where I am right now, but I call home here. I'm married, happily married, so, you know, real grounded.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Babies?
No babies.
No babies?
No babies.
Oh, wow, that was
no.
going to be my next question. Really quick, because you heard me say this before we went on. You know, I didn't know you were here, and we have passed each other's path
Sure.
in the business.
Yes.
But I mentioned to you about some of the hidden treasures like yourself and your mother and Corey Pollard and Ann Bailey. I mean, Dee Dee Bridgewater, you mentioned her with you in The Wiz.
Yes.
I mean, the treasures that's here. And who would think that you would come to Vegas and decide to rest? Well, not rest, but lay your hat here.
Sure.
What made you decide that?
I didn't know I was going to lay my hat here. I'll tell you,
Me either, I was bored here.
Much as a surprise for me,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
But it's something that happened, and I believe sometimes there's a destiny.
Yeah.
And that was part of mine, because had I not been here, I would not have met my husband, which is a gem in the desert, you know. So that's sort of, and doing the show Chicago, because we did that here at the Mandalay Bay. We actually opened the Mandalay Bay.
Okay, I worked there for a while at Starbucks.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about the Hines brothers. I saw that picture with you and them, and
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Such talented guys. I had a chance, of course, to meet their dad as well, because he was a consultant with the movie, The Cotton Club. But I had known them from being in New York and doing different shows. You know, they did Yubi and other shows and all there, and so it's a small, close-knit community. You know, the Broadway community, and so when I actually had the opportunity to be picked and chosen to be in the Cotton Club to represent the ladies of that time, they were great, just
Yeah.
talented,
What-
multi.
I want to ask you about the Cotton Club because, you know, it's a little dear to me. Aside from one of my sister's fellow, she's like a family member, Kate Thomas, but Ivory Willard, Las Vegas's own, that was also on Star Search with you. He played, I know he played as a dancer on there with Gregory Hines.
Right.
And you guys shared the stage and the whole taping. How was that working with him? Because he's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Full of energy.
there were so many wonderful people,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, some of the material was
Yes.
left on the cutting room floor. If we could gather that, I know when Henry Latang was alive, and he also lived here in Vegas, that he wanted to just get all of that footage and put together, because that's a show in itself. But it was just absolutely wonderful experience, you know, because it wasn't a lot of musicals. You know, musicals had kind of cooled down around in the 70s, you know, and they made a recurring, came back to life, I should say, with Saturday Night Fever and shows, you know, movies like that. But when we actually did the Cotton Club, it was in the 80s. So it was exciting, and also for black entertainers.
Well, you know, it was amazing to me. It was like you embodied in Cotton Club what your mother brought from New York to Las Vegas, Corey Pollard and Ann Bailey. I mean, you were reliving it on camera.
That's why I said I stand on their shoulders.
Absolutely.
They
And
opened
all
the
did.
door for someone like me.
What did you like better, being on film or Broadway, or what was?
Well, they all have their advantages.
Yeah.
The thing is, with film, it lasts, you know, so you get to see it. With Broadway, it's in the moment, you know, and sometimes the shows are not the same from night to night. So you really have to be on it, you know.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so it's all different. TV as well, you know, and like with Broadway, you're starting from top to the end. You can cut tape, you know, in filming as well as, you know, television. But as far as Broadway, it's live, all the way live.
Okay. And we have 1 minute left.
Okay.
I know you're singing and you have 2 groups. Where do you go from here? What else do you want to do that you haven't done yet?
You know, that's a great question. I write, you know, I find that talent is starting to work its way through me. But I love music, so I don't know. You know, wherever God takes me, I'm going to say it that way, because I didn't know I was going to be here. You know, so I'm just going on my journey that He has set for me.
I love how everyone ends up in Vegas. They always underestimate the city.
Vegas.
Yes.
You know, we want to thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
I would love to
And
have
your
you
mother,
come back.
Carrie, and Anna.
Oh my God, the legacy of all of you
Such
and the
beautiful,
Moulin Rouge
talented women.
dancers, Carrie Pollard, her mother. You see where the talent comes from, and
the
Bailey
looks.
and her beautiful family, Bob Bailey and Kim, and just John, all of them. And we're just so excited that we have had you guys with us today.
Thank you for having
And
us
Mona,
here.
I'm just so excited to
I
be
know.
with you today. Okay.
So we want to thank all of our guests for joining us on Ethnicity, and you know we'll be back.